Netherlands. I am sure that many people would have dreamed of spending their childhood in Holland. One of the most popular breakfasts in this country is a slice of white bread with butter and chocolate chips. This dish is called hagelslag. It is hardly a healthy dish. But many Dutch parents give their children hagelslag with milk for breakfast. There are several other variations of this sweet sprinkle. It can be fruity, which, of course, is unlikely to make the dish healthier, but it looks appetizing. Like this video if you want to try this dish. Japan. In the land of the rising sun, breakfast is considered an important meal and usually consists of a large number of dishes in small portions. For breakfast, the Japanese have miso soup, a fish stew with seaweed. There is also a portion of rice, a piece of baked salmon, and fermented soybeans. You can also add vegetables or an egg to the dish. It turns out a balanced and dense dish. For us, this set certainly looks unusual, but if you consider that Japan is one of the world leaders in average life expectancy, it may be worth trying such breakfasts. By the way, post in the comments what you eat most often for breakfast. Let's see what's most popular. Mexico. One of the most popular breakfasts in this hot country is chilaquiles. These are fried slices of corn tortilla dipped in salsa or chili sauce. Depending on the region, chicken, beef, vegetables, and an egg are added to the dish. It sounds like a very pleasant way to start the day. Especially since Mexicans also like to add coffee and a sweet bun to it. Cuba. The staple of breakfast in this country is the drink, café con leche. Many of us are used to drinking coffee with milk and sugar in kindergarten or school cafeterias. Almost every Cuban drinks this kind of coffee for breakfast. You can also add a toasted slice of bread to it, but café con leche is still the main attribute to start the day in Cuba. Turkey. Unlike in Cuba, in Turkey coffee is only a small part of a gourmet breakfast. As a rule, the meal consists of many ingredients, among them several types of cheese, bread, vegetables, nuts, olives, honey, and eggs. All these ingredients can be piled on top of each other or eaten separately. You can hardly stay hungry after a Turkish breakfast. Australia. A piece of white bread with something spread on it is a common breakfast option in many countries, but Australia certainly stands out. There, the bread is coated with Vegemite paste, and at first you might think it's something chocolatey, but you'd be very wrong. Vegemite is a viscous mass made from leftover beer wort with various additives. It tastes bitter salty and a bit like meat broth. A very strange product that is a national treasure in Australia. Iceland. The most popular food fed to children in this country is porridge. Therefore, childhood memories of breakfast in Russia and Iceland are very similar. In the land of geysers and volcanoes, the most common type of porridge is oatmeal. Children are often given fish oil in addition to their porridge, which is generally quite common in our country. The fact is that Iceland is a northern country with little sunshine. As a consequence, the country lacks vitamin D, and fish oil is an excellent source of this element. Korea. The traditional Korean breakfast is somewhat reminiscent of the Japanese breakfast. It is a lot of small plates with different kinds of food. This always includes rice, sauerkraut, kimchi, other pickled vegetables, eggs, and tofu cheese. France. You might think that the most common breakfast in this country is croissant and coffee, but that's not entirely true. Yes, many French people can have a croissant at the beginning of the day. However, for example, a puff pastry with chocolate or a baguette with butter and jam are just as popular. Israel. Eggs are one of the most popular breakfast foods in the world. They can be boiled, fried, scrambled, and so on. But one of the most memorable options is Israeli shakshuka. An egg is cooked in a pan along with a mixture of tomato paste, onions, vegetables, spices, and herbs. The dish is often prepared in a massive bowl in anticipation of a large company. USA. When most people think of the American breakfast, they think of pancakes, a puffy pancake drizzled with syrup. You can also add an ice cream scoop or bacon, for example. This is more like a dessert than a full meal. For Americans, pancakes are more of a weekend breakfast option at a coffee shop. At home, the main meal at the beginning of the day is cereal with milk, honey, fruit, and chocolate flakes. You can find miles of shelves of flakes of all kinds in any American supermarket. And no wonder, since it is thanks to the US that this breakfast has become one of the most popular all over the world. What could be faster than pouring milk over cereal? Sweden. One of the most popular breakfast options in this Scandinavian country is the black bread sandwich. And the filling has many variations. Someone spreads butter and puts a piece of cheese on top, someone uses fish, and some vegetables. Everyone makes to his own taste. Another popular Swedish breakfast option is a cinnamon bun with coffee. If a Swede needs a quick meal in the morning, he is likely to choose the second option. Bulgaria. In this country, a very popular puff pastry called banitsa is filled with cheese or cottage cheese. Banitsa is not only a popular breakfast option, but also a common type of street food in Bulgaria. Great Britain. Most people know what an English breakfast is: a huge plate with a few fried eggs, sausages, mushrooms, bacon, beans, and tomatoes on it. After such a breakfast, lunch is hardly necessary. The British themselves, on the other hand, mostly eat toast with jam and tea or coffee at the beginning of the day. China. It's a big country with different regions where people's food preferences are completely different. Still, for most Chinese, breakfast is a quick meal, which means eating something that can be prepared in advance. For example, rice porridge or pork buns. However, depending on the region, it could be, for example, noodle soup or something similar to dumplings. Argentina. When we hear the phrase, croissant and coffee, the first thing we think of is France. However, there are other countries where this combination is the most popular breakfast, such as Argentina. In the South American country, the main difference is that the croissant is poured over the top with sweet syrup and called a crescent moon. Another country with a similar breakfast is Italy. Here the croissant is a cornetto, and the main difference is the filling. The filling can be vanilla or chocolate cream. In general, Italians do not spend much time on breakfast, usually a cup of cappuccino along with a cornetto. Most Italians drink this coffee only at the beginning of the day. If someone in Italy orders a cappuccino in the afternoon, it's almost certainly a tourist. India and Pakistan. In these neighboring countries, puri, scones, which are pieces of dough fried in oil, are often eaten for breakfast. They are puffy but hollow on the inside. They can be served, for example, with sweet additives such as halwa, or with the traditional Indian dish, chana masala, which is chickpeas in a spicy sauce. Puri is also one of the most popular street foods in India and Pakistan. Spain. There are several popular breakfast options in this country. Much depends on the particular region. It could be an omelette, a jamon sandwich, or a tomato sandwich. If you like sweets, you'll probably love chocolate churros, which are oblong pieces of dough fried in butter and sprinkled with sugar. The whole thing is dipped in hot chocolate. Churros are also a common type of fast food available on the streets or in amusement parks. Colombia. The traditional dish eaten for breakfast in this country does not look very appetizing. This soup is called changua. This soup is made from water, milk, potatoes, and eggs. It sounds rather dubious, but Colombians are very fond of this dish. They usually put a piece of bread with melted cheese next to it. Switzerland. Today, granola is one of the most popular breakfast foods in the world. There are two reasons for this. It's quick and healthy. This mixture of grains, nuts, and dried fruit is poured with milk or yogurt. It is no coincidence that I mentioned this dish in the context of the story of Switzerland. Muesli was invented in this country. More than 100 years ago, a doctor at a Swiss hospital came up with this recipe for his patients. So if you're still looking for a tasty, quick, and healthy breakfast option, you should definitely try granola. Vietnam. For most Europeans, breakfast options in Asian countries look very extravagant. Vietnam is no exception. Many people there eat eel soup at the beginning of the day. Eel is not a very pretty fish. They marinate it and then make soup with spices and noodles. Another popular Vietnamese soup, pho, made from meat broth and noodles, is also popular among locals. Thanks to its less extravagant appearance, this soup has spread far beyond the borders of Vietnam. Canada. Pancakes are very popular in this country. Perhaps because the most popular sauce for this dish is maple syrup, which is a national treasure of Canada. An extended version of this breakfast may also include eggs and bacon. In short, Canada likes to eat well in the morning. Don't forget to like if you were interested in this video. Also, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell to always be updated on new videos and, of course, leave your comments under this video.